He says I've been trickle-truthing him, feeding him bits and pieces of information over time, instead of telling him everything up front. He begged me to read books and resources about infidelity and healing. I read a few pages, but honestly, I didn't fully commit to it. He wanted me to engage more, but I didn't think it was necessary to go that deep. When he confronted me or brought it up during arguments, I told him he needed to make a decision to trust me if we were going to move forward. I believed I was being truthful at that point, but he kept saying I wasn't understanding the gravity of what I'd done. I didn't know how to address his pain in a way that satisfied him, and I admit I often got defensive or frustrated when he didn't seem to get over it as quickly as I thought he should. The affair lasted around 3 or 4 months, but I understand why he questions the timeline. I haven't been as forthcoming as he needed me to be. He called the trickle truth just as damaging as the affair itself, and he might be right. Shortly after he found out about the affair, I could see how shattered he was, but at the time, I didn't know how to support him. I was wrapped up in my own guilt, shame, and problems, including being laid off at work. He kicked me out within the week. From that day forward, he worked on himself. He went to counseling, read books, and sought advice from every source he could find. Meanwhile, I didn't do nearly enough. I asked him to set his feelings aside so we could just have a good time or move past an argument. I didn't realize how selfish that was at the time. He's gone through my things twice, and both times he's found things that made him even angrier. I know he's convinced there's more he hasn't uncovered, and maybe he's right. I told myself they were harmless lies or things that didn't matter, but to him, it's proof of how much I've lied and manipulated. He's done now. He said it plainly. He won't take my calls, respond to my messages, or let me back in, no matter how much I try to apologize or show him I've changed. In the past, when we first started out, he was this awkward, sweet fellow who easily fell for love bombing and grand gestures, but now he's made it clear that he's completely over stuff like that if they were from me. He said he's strong, educated, and ready to move on from what he calls my selfish, lying, narcissistic ways. From his perspective, I didn't do enough to fix what I broke, and he refuses to put any more energy into me or the relationship. He's done, and I understand why. Update: I've been trying everything to reach him, but he's blocked me on his phone and email. If I call, it doesn't even ring. It just goes straight to voicemail. I can still leave messages, but I don't think he listens to them. I haven't been blocked on FB yet, but I know it's only a matter of time. I'm terrified that if he completely blocks me everywhere, he'll cut me out of his life for good. I don't think he believes I'll try and fight for us after all I've done, but I can see he just wants me to leave him alone. I can't let him go, though, not when I'm still trying to show him how much I want to fix things. I know I've made this harder for him by not doing what I should have earlier. I dragged my feet when he asked me to read the books, to work on myself, to truly address what I did. I was selfish, and I know that. He wanted reconciliation for a very brief period of time, but I didn't give him the effort he needed. Now I'm desperate. I don't understand how he can say I ruined everything when I'm fighting so hard to get him back. He says it's all talk, that nothing will change, but I'm trying to prove him wrong. I just don't know if I've already run out of time. Last time when he responded, and I said emotional things about him, about us, he sent me back 2 screenshots of messages I sent him while I was still high from my affair. They were just awful. Looks like he's kept some of my worst text messages as reminders of why he's done with me. I hate knowing those messages define me in his mind, but I can't blame him for holding on to them. I hurt him in ways I'm still coming to terms with, and now I don't know if I'll ever get the chance to make it right. I don't know how to make him see that I'm not the same selfish person I was before. I want to be better, for him, for myself, for our future. But every day he pushes me further away, and I'm starting to think he's already decided he's done. I know I've done reckless things, bad decisions, emotional outbursts, and acting selfishly. But he calls me a monster now. He says I'm not the person I showed him I was, the person I told him I was, or the person I portray on social media. And maybe he's right. I thought I could keep pretending, but he's finally seeing the real me, and he hates it. He doesn't want me back, and he's making that clearer every day. I can't deny that I deserve it. If he's truly done, I don't know how to let go. I'm living like a gypsy, moving from couch to couch. I'm sick of this. I've no money to pay to rent a place. I know I sound despicable when I say this, but I need him even more for financial reasons than for emotional reasons. I don't know how to work around this. I just want him to give me one more chance to prove I can be the partner he deserves. Story 2. Found out my wife sent nudes to a coworker. My wife and I have been together for about 8 years and married for just under 2. No kids, no mortgage. Last month I noticed my wife acting strangely, dressing better for work, shorter skirts, and heels that she never wears. She started guarding her phone, not letting me near it. One night I was on my PC and was looking through pictures. We have a shared cloud backup folder. In the deleted folder, there were nudes of my wife. My heart sank. Panic took over. I had to leave the house and go for a run. I cooled down and thought about it. Maybe she just took those photos, then deleted them. The next morning I confronted her about the nudes. I immediately saw fear in her eyes. She said they were for me, but the timestamp on the photos is from when I was at work. I asked to see her phone. She said no. I saw panic in her eyes. I demanded to see her phone. I gave her an ultimatum. She caved and gave me her phone. The first message was from a man from her job. She was sending him nudes. She was telling him how sexually frustrated she was. She was talking shit about me. There were messages hinting how they drank together before. They were also making plans to meet and drink the day after. In my house. In the messages, she said she made sure I was at work that night. How they are going to drink and how she would have to be careful around him because she doesn't know if she can control herself. I lost it. I kicked her out, called her mom and told her that my wife is going to live with her now. For the last 2 months, my department was short, and I've been working a lot. I work nights, so I was not around every night. We haven't been having as much sex because of this too, but one of the reasons I was working so much was because we had planned a vacation together for September. It was an expensive one, so I did some overtime. I kicked her out and went on vacation without her. I got back last week. She and I haven't really spoken during that time. Most of the conversation was just me trying to figure out why she would do this. On my flight home, she sent me an email explaining herself. Basically, she stated how I haven't been around physically or emotionally, how she was feeling down, and her self-esteem was at the lowest because of how I've been acting lately. She dressed better at work and got the attention of a man. They started texting, went out for drinks, and flirting. It took her less than a month from just talking to that man to sending him nudes. She invited him over for cocktails and strip poker. She took no responsibility for her actions. Said she just likes the attention. She called it just a mistake. I met her the other day to talk. I needed answers. I asked for the truth, and I'm not sure if I got it. She wants to work this out. She regrets sending those nudes. She swears she was never physical with the other man. The most that happened was that he gave her a neck massage at work. She was addicted to the attention. The invite to my home for when I wasn't around was just to have some drinks and talk, nothing more. She said she's starting looking for a different job, and she's already been on interviews. She wants to work this out. States she will do anything to try and work this out. I asked for 2 things from her: to never lie to me, and I asked for a post-nup. I told her to take some time and think about it. She agreed a few days later. I'm so lost. I don't know anything. I'm numb. I'm not sure what I feel. I don't sleep. I have no motivation to do anything. I don't even know what I'm looking for writing this. Update. Wednesday night I had her over to talk. But earlier in the week we went to talk, and I asked her to tell me the full truth. Anything she was withholding, even if it upset me or hurt her case. That night she said there was nothing else, and that she really wanted to work things out. Wednesday night she came over. I told her in order to even consider rebuilding a relationship, I had to be sure she was telling me the truth. And I asked again if she had anything to hide. She said no. I asked to see her phone. She gave it to me. And I explained to her that I have a way to restore deleted messages and that I'm going to do it. She immediately broke and said that there was more. She had the OM over my house before. Even after I asked if he's ever been to my apartment in the past, where she adamantly dozens of times said no. Well, she lied. They've had drink on my fucking couch. They got shit-faced. They played strip poker, where she got naked. They made out, and he felt her up. She says a lot of it she doesn't remember, because at one point she blacked out and woke up in the bathroom puking. She's swearing up and down they never had sex, that when she asked the OM what happened the next day, he said he helped her to the bathroom and then left. I do not believe that this is the full story. She deleted the OM number, but I have it. I asked her to call him while on speakerphone to talk about that night. She called him. He basically corroborated her story, but I sensed he was worried about the questions. He made it very clear she was fully supportive and cognizant about what they did that night, and she encouraged a lot of it. She asked if they had sex that night, as she doesn't remember, and the OM said no. She started puking, so he left. I have a recording of the conversation. Thing is, a week later she invited him back over. This is what I caught and stopped. But she fucking invited him back to my fucking house. So she felt no remorse then. I broke down and cried. I said some mean things to her out of anger. And I told her it's really over. I told her she needs therapy because this kind of behavior is destructive. She should have come clean when she had the chance in the beginning. She bawled and cried. We sat on the floor for a while in silence. I told her to gather the rest of her things and leave. She did. Yup. So there that is. I guess I'll ask for advice here too. Is there any chance for reconciliation, or should I just pull the trigger on divorce? I do care for her greatly, but I don't trust her, nor do I respect her. Thank you, strangers from the internet. Man, this situation is brutal, and I'm really sorry you're going through it. Based on what you've shared, reconciliation feels like a losing battle. She's only been honest when cornered, and even then, it's been trickle truth after trickle truth. The fact that she lied repeatedly and only admitted more when you had the tools to recover deleted messages shows she's not committed to full transparency. The worst part? She invited him into your home again after the first incident. That's not a mistake. It's a conscious, deliberate choice. She didn't feel remorse until she was caught, and even now she's shifting blame onto you for being busy or emotionally unavailable. That's not accountability. You've already said you don't trust or respect her anymore, and without those, there's no relationship to rebuild. Trust takes years to rebuild, and even then, you'll likely be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your marriage. You're in a good position to walk away. No kids, no mortgage. This is a clean break. Don't let her tears or promises suck you back in. Her actions have already shown who she is. You deserve someone who respects you and the relationship you've built. Be strong. You'll get through this.